trusting and knowing are two essential factors for manifestation. Now, you may think that you are trusting, that you trust in the process, that you trust in its creation. But what trusting really means is to completely let go of the outcome. Trusting means that you do not feel as if you have to take another action, that you have to take any further action for you to actually create what you're trying to manifest. Because that would only be your ego, a 3D being trying to create within an infinite dimensional reality, trying to create within a quantum reality with things that you don't grasp, that you can't even imagine. Trusting is knowing that whatever you are going through is meant to lead you towards your desired reality, because that's knowing. It's not thinking, it's not believing, it's not imagining or wishing, but knowing. Just imagine, just exactly as if you're trying to get somewhere, you're trying to go to a shop, and then there might be some traffic on your way to the shop. You're not thinking that I need to get there right now, otherwise the shop is going to disappear, and then it's going to shift its location, and then I won't know how to ever get there any longer. You're not knowing is that you don't think that I need to get to there, I need to drive as fast as possible, I need to take all the shortcuts possible in order to get to my workplace, otherwise I'm not gonna have a job, and then the company is not gonna be there any longer, and I won't be able to find it any longer. Hello, you lovely infinite beings, right onto your path of exploring the infinite. So, do you really think now that you are trusting? Do you not feel a need to commit any specific action so quickly in order for it to get you closer to your desired reality? Because if you have money sitting in your bank account, for example, you're not thinking I should spend this as fast as possible, otherwise it's not going to be there. You know that it's always going to be there and you can just use it whenever you want to buy anything. That is knowing. Similarly, if you observe life, if you're noticing every little thing in life and using it as an experience to understand more, to know more about this life, about yourself, about existence, you're going to realize so closely how much of creators we are. Just an example, a quick one. Imagine you're in a queue waiting for something to happen. You're in a queue in the supermarket, and if the more averted you are to being in a long queue, to having to wait, and you're nagging about it, you're dissatisfied with it, the more you're gonna realize that once you get to the cashier, for example, you will find out that you have missed something. Maybe you did not weigh your vegetables and fruits, and now you have to go back all the way and weigh them and come take the queue from the beginning. Or if you wanna finish up some, legal documents or something, and then it's so crowded and you're dissatisfied, you're blabbering about how uncomfortable it is or how it should be different, and then you reach there and you realize that you've missed some kind of document, an important document to complete the process, or a signature or a stamp or whatever, and then you have to wait another day and then go back to the beginning of the queue. Conversely, if you are satisfied and you're always trusting that it's meant to be this way, that this is happening in order for it to get you to where you are meant to be, in order for it, and you're just flowing smoothly and easily with everything that's happening, then the end result is always going to be what you want it to be. Just recently, a few days ago, when I was recording my first video after a long time of not creating videos, I just sat down. It was the previous video about manifestation, and do you need to take an action to actually manifest, and what does it mean, what's the relation. And I just sat down and I started recording, and I did this amazing video. I said everything that I wanted to, and everything came out very organized and smoothly flowing, one in a very proper sequence. And I said everything. There was nothing that I missed out, and it was just, and I felt so inspired because I did not think that it would be that I would do it this good after a long time of not making videos. And then I was very satisfied and very joyful, and I went on with my day. That was like in the afternoon. And then when I came back to edit my video, and like it was already evening, the sun was almost setting, I realized that it recorded only 1 second from the whole 20-minute video. And apparently that's something because I'm using a webcam that's connected to my laptop, and apparently there was some kind of an update with Windows last year, 2 years ago, that caused this kind of malfunction. And it happened to me before, but then I updated, there was an update, and once I did it, it was not happening any longer. So I did not think that this was still an issue. So I went online, but I went online after. I was so mad, I was so furious, I was so down, because I was like, after this whole time, and then I'm finally inspired. I finally reignited this passion. And now when I sit down and record my first video, this happens, because like it was ridiculous, unreal. And so I just went online and I kept searching, and I found many people having the same problem, many people asking if they can recover their videos, because it was like a once in a lifetime kind of video. And I sat there for hours trying to find a way. Maybe it's saved somewhere, maybe it got recorded, but just it wasn't encoded, or something happened, and then I can recover it. But apparently there was no way to it. It was just that, there's no way you could recover it, and it just happened. And I had an update pending on my Windows, and I did it, and I started recording, and everything was fine again, and the issue was not happening. So I just sat there so mad and thinking about what could it mean, what happened there, how did I manifest such a thing, how did I attract this, because I felt before recording I was so inspired, and once I restarted recording, everything came so smoothly. I did not have to pause for a second. I did not have this brain malfunction or forgot what I wanted to say. And then suddenly I just felt I regained myself. I remembered that I'm not an ego. I remembered what I've been training myself to be for the past while. And I said, this must be for my highest good. There's no way this is meant to just, bother me and irritate me. And this must be, because I know I felt good about it, and I did not have any resistance towards it. So this must mean that I'm going to re-record this video, and it's going to be much better. And I felt inspired, and I felt, all of these ideas rushing through me, and I felt this connection to my higher self. It's channeling through me, but it was already dark, and there was no sunlight coming through the window. And I said, okay, I'm going to record it tomorrow. And then finished the day, went to bed, and the next morning I did not wake up feeling my best self. I had to deal with some issues and so on and so forth. And then I did not really feel inspired. I was thinking it, but I was not feeling it anymore. So I was like, okay, should I wait till I feel it, till I feel this inspiration, or should I just go? And I just, decided to record the video and go on with it to finish up things. And what happened is that, I kept having brain clutter throughout the recording process. Because I was remembering my previous video, and I was like, okay, I said this thing, I have to mention it, but where do I mention it? And now it was no longer an inspired, a channel thing. It was just me trying to force my way as an ego. Because the moment you feel this inspiration, you don't let it sit, you act right upon it. at that instance, because that's your if you suddenly feel it, if you're feeling down and then suddenly you feel inspired and there's something flowing within you and your mental state is completely changed, then you know that that's the moment where you have to take this kind of action, because it means it came from somewhere that's not your ego, because your ego is so engulfed by these negativity and negative emotions, and suddenly it's not, then it must be from something else. And so when I did not actually do it at that moment, and I waited for it to have the perfect angle and the natural sunlight coming through, and I tried to think that my ego knows better when to act rather than the feeling, than my intuition and my inner inspiration. I thought that my ego is best at deciding that I should wait for tomorrow, and then I'm gonna wake up refreshed, and it's gonna be sunlight, and it's gonna be better. And it was not. And so the process was that I was confused throughout the video. It was not very organized. I kept kind of stuttering, and my brain would just jam, and I would repeat some things trying to remember other things that I want to say, and then they wouldn't come, and so on and so forth. And I wasn't very happy by the end result. But then I was like, okay, so should I still be mad about this, or should I continue thinking that this also must be for my higher good, that this also is meant to be? And you see, the thing is, there's this saying that I just recently heard somewhere, or read actually, and it said that the distance, or the difference between you and where you would really like to be is just your mindset. It's just your mentality. It's just how you're functioning right in there. And that's so profound on so many levels, because the more I think that way, the more. Now, you see, before, whenever I missed something from a video, or I realized that there's this important idea that I did not mention, I feel bad about it. Oh, I did this whole video. Should I go back and record the whole thing? Should I maybe outline my thoughts better so it comes out more fluent, more articulate the next time? This and that. I keep thinking this way. But now I found myself, I was like, okay, I missed some points. That video wasn't the best. It wasn't very nice. I did not really enjoy the end result. But that means that this is an opportunity for another video. You see the difference, and that shifts my mentality. That completely shifts my perspective. And this inspired, for example, this video. Oh, I missed that thing that I wanted to mention about trust, and how you should let go of control, and how you should just know it and feel it as an absolute truth. And that inspired a whole new video. So that's how you should think in order for you to be trusting. That's what trust leads to. Because I trust that, I'm not attracting bad things toward myself. That's the most thing you gotta trust into. You gotta know that we are creative beings, that we are all an extension of Source, of God, which harbors all the creative, energy in the universe, all this creation. And so everything about you is creating. You're creating moment by moment what's going to happen the next day, what's the next experience that you are going to go through. And that's why it's very important to keep your mindset with a positive outlook. That's why it's important. And you see, back then when I used to record videos, when I first started doing these kind of videos, I was like very meticulous about everything. I was like studying the details, and I'm going very deep. Should I film from this angle? Should I film at this time? Should I outline my video, all of my thoughts before doing the video? Should I just sit here or stand there or do this or do that? But now I don't care. I'm letting myself trust the process. I'm letting myself to trust my intuition, to know that this is all inspired to me through my higher self, and that I am creative by nature, and I don't have to force my way through things. I don't have to let my ego control everything, because the ego always thinks it knows best. The ego always want to control things, and I used to be like that. I want to control every aspect and do the best editing so that my videos would come out perfect. There's no such thing as perfect, first of all, and you do not make it by being perfect. You make it by just being yourself. There is an amazing place for every single person once they are themselves, because you are already divine. You are an extension of God. You are who you are, and we all are one. We all are connected, and we all are creating all the time. And so when this, now I'm just letting it be. I'm just, whenever, and even the last time I was like, before I even started posting these type of videos, I was like, I have to record a few videos. Think I did like 7 or 8 videos before I started posting, because I was thinking, what if I don't have an idea for a long time, and then I don't post for a long time, and I want to be posting daily or every other day or whatever. So I should at least have a few videos in spare, in case that happens. Now I'm just recording, but every day. Well, now I know it, because I'm not thinking, what if I don't have an idea? The idea just came to me out of nowhere. I did not have an idea 4 days ago, and then 3 days ago it just came to me, and I just pulled my camera out, and then I started recording, and everything came out so smoothly. So I'm not doubting, I'm just trusting, and I'm knowing that, okay, all I have to do is take my next step, because then the step after is always going to reveal itself. Once you trust, once you come from that place of knowing, of trusting that everything is working out for your highest good, that everything is leading you, no matter how bad the situation is, it is leading you towards where you would really love to be. But that brings me to the second important part of trusting, which is accepting, which is acceptance, which is being content and very satisfied with where you are at this point. Because if you believe that everything, if you know that everything that's happening to you is leading you towards your highest good, towards where you would really love to be, then you have no reason to be dissatisfied with this moment. Then you have no reason for you to not be present and live, in the future or in the past. Or because if you truly are trusting, if you truly are knowing and believing, you're gonna know that this is only processing you for whatever you want to be, even if it's bad, even if it seems impossible from where you are at this point. Just think that it is meant to be. It is, maybe you need to go through this step before, in order for you to be able to attract the next one. Maybe it's not, because things do happen in a sequence. It does have to have a meaning to it by happening. It just can't be, it can't just be, meaningless when it happens. And so if you do really believe it this way, then you have absolutely no reason to be dissatisfied with the moment. And this reminds me of a very interesting statement that Abraham Hicks said. It really concisely surmised the whole concept of manifestation and creation. And she said something that you cannot get to where you'd like to be unless you already are where you like to be. And you see the paradox kind of here. It might confuse you and at first, but it's profound on so many levels, and it's very beautiful because it sums up everything you need to know about manifestation. In other words, you cannot get to where you want to get to unless you already feel as if you are where you want to be. Because if you trust in every step, if you just trust in the process and not think obsessively about the end result, about the outcome, then it means that you already are where you want to be. Because I know right now from this place, no matter how far-fetched something seems to be, I know I'm just choosing to to trust that this is needed for me to get to that point, even if I'm on that point. So it means that I love this point because it's the process that's taking me towards that point. And it comes in knowing rather than a forced thought and a forced thought and a forced thought. Because thoughts and actions only important in manifestation if they lead to the feeling. Watch my previous video, which was disorganized, about manifestation and the relation to manifestation, whether you have to take action to manifest. You could watch it's going to clarify this point further. And so if you really want to create something, you have to be just content with this. Because there's always a reason to not be content. There's always a reason to reject the reality if you choose to. There's also this kind of excerpt I heard recently, or a story, this short story, and it's like about a young boy who had the opportunity to skip forward his life, but the only catch was that they cannot go back in time. Once they fast forward through their life, they cannot go back. And they were in school and they did not want to be in school, so they fast forwarded, and then they found themselves in college, and then they also want to fast forward because it's boring in college and they have to study, and then they were working. Then they thought, okay, let's fast forward to where I'm promoted, I'm making more money, and then they did, and then they had kids, and then they were married and they had kids, and then they wanted their kids to grow older because they were nagging and they were a mess and everything. So, and they kept fast forwarding, and then it leads to the realization that you just, at every point in your life, you can just choose to skim through it and skip through to the next process until you're old, and just there's no more to life than what has already passed. And that's what happens. You just want to reach to the next stage and to the next stage, and you want to fast forward to this end result. But how do you know really where your happiness is? That's the thing. The ego always thinks that it knows what's best for us. It thinks that I know this is the outcome, I want this outcome, and that's where I'm gonna be happy. But how do you know? Who says? How many times before did you think that something would make you feel really joyful and happy, and you've waited for it patiently, and then when it came, it meant nothing. It just did not awaken that feeling you were expecting within you. And that's why it's very important to just let go of the outcome. Trust the process. Know that you are on your meaningful path. Just trust. I have no reason to think that I'm punishing myself, that I'm leading myself towards something bad. Why would I think this? Why am I thinking that I might ruin my life? What the action I'm taking is leading me to something that I'm not going to enjoy, to something that might be ruining my life, or so on and so forth. No, that's not who we are by nature. Once you understand that you are an extension of Source, that God works through you, that we are all one, we all have this creative, divine energy that's the pure essence of creation, you won't have to worry about it anymore. And I think that's all for today. And if it's not, then it's gonna be a brilliant opportunity for another video. Thank you for tuning in to another video.